Hey, we're about to start the show, and you know the drill. If you've been here before and you have something important to share, please add a capital letter Q to your comment. And if you are watching live for the first time, please let us know by writing the word new, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. Enjoy the broadcast. Okay, so we're going to go with the sound that we don't like. I have no idea what is going on here. Um, I think we had good sound for the introduction, right? And then I decided to try something new and I messed up the sound. Let me try it one more time, just out of curiosity. Okay, we are going to go with a less than desirable sound and hope that the rest of the broadcast will be smooth. Ay, Dios mío, it must be Friday. I'm sorry about that. Let's start with this one. This one, I had to sleep on this because last night I was doing my news sweep for content for this morning, and I was startled because I read that this private property is being shut down by the government because they decided to demolish it without a permit. And my first reaction was like, what does the government care? What is it their business that you should decide to demolish your own private property? And then I slept on it and I didn't do any research about this, but it was very clear to me that it makes sense. Why? Because if your private property is connected to um, the electricity line or the plumbing line, you might mess them up while you're demolishing your home. So I guess the teachable moment here is if you decide to demolish your own home, even if it's your own property and your own business, you may want to let the government know that you are doing this. Okay, the return of the Vinoma Fest wine festival has been announced, and as in past editions, the event will feature wine tastings, educational conferences, and of course, excellent cuisine. Vinoma Fest runs from March 7 to 9, and I'll leave you with their Facebook page for more details. In case you wanted to go swimming this weekend, it may not be a good idea to do so yet. Just check out for the warning flags. If there's a red flag out there, don't go swimming. Why? Well, because apparently the waves are still rather high. Our dear friend Lars took this photograph this morning as he was walking his dog. This is high tide somewhere in Los Muertos Beach. As you can see, the waves are high. And of course, the idea of sunbathing on the beach may be easy to accomplish, or maybe not. We don't know. Try a swimming pool. Now, let me see if, yes, we are still, oh, our sound is good. Excellent. We are now on our weather stretch. Jesus LARPing Christ. It's partly fucking cloudy, says snarky weather. I had to do some research, and according to my findings, LARP is a live action role playing game. I don't know that the term has any other meanings, but frankly, I don't care what oh my goodness, it's only 43% humidity out there. Good day to go out for a walk. It's 23 degrees. So if you decide to go out, today might be the day to do it. Um, what did I just do? Let me tell you our weather forecast for today. Humid with partly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 28 and a low of 17. Then tomorrow, Saturday, partly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 28 and a low of 17. And then we wrap up the weekend with partly cloudy skies on Sunday with a high of 28 and a low of 18. There you have it. Now, moving right along, I want to start by telling you a little bit about yesterday. You guys blew my mind yesterday at my music appreciation presentation. I announced that we would be geeking out on classical music, and it has been a while since we talked um, about classical music with any depth. And I was so touched. First of all, I think 18 or 19 of you showed up. That was a um, huge attendance for what we do. I mean, we usually get between 10 and 15 people, but it was almost 20. I was so excited, so gratified, not only for a wonderful audience, but also for the wonderful conversations that went on about where is the art and where is culture here in Puerto Vallarta as far as classical music is concerned and all that stuff. Of course, this is a lengthy conversation, one that we're not going to have today, but it is a pleasure to talk about classical music and to share excitement about classical music, well, about many types of music that we've approached in the music appreciation presentations. But when you geek out with classical music with me, it makes me very happy and very grateful. Now, this one that I'm going to show you just blows my mind. It's not for me. I've said so before. Micheladas, enchiladas, as you know, are concoctions in which you add chingaderas to your beer. Um, and, you know, I like a chelada, which is just basic beer with lime juice. Some people like the micheladas, in which they add fruit and vegetables and shrimp and all kinds of things. But this one really blew my mind. There is a place in Cinco de Diciembre called Atlantis that has introduced these sizable beverages. I mean, this takes the michelada to a totally different proportion, and it's not even summer. I mean, look at this, and they call it the licuachela, and that is a combination of two words. Licuadora, of course, is the Spanish word for blender, and chela is one of the slang words that we use to refer to beer. So if you want to have a beer with the size of a blender glass full of all kinds of nutritious chingaderas and some chili powder to go, this is the place where you want to be. Again, not necessarily for me, but I'll be happy to share this for you and with you in the show notes. And now, before we go into your comments, let me start with reminders of things to do this weekend because there's all kinds of stuff going on. For starters, as you know, we have our meet and greet. Um, why am I yelling at the microphone if I'm not even using it? Go away. Our meet and greet is today from 6 to 8 at Whiskey Kitchen. I hope you're going to be there. I am going to be there, of course. I need to go get some name tags before we begin with our shindig. And then, of course, the carnival has started. There were some events in the city yesterday, and there are some events today. The big parade is scheduled for tomorrow. I believe it starts at 6 p.m. in case you're out and about. And of course, I want to remind you that today is the opening reception at Galeria Contempo for Ricardo Mejorada. This is part of all the exhibitions and all the shindigs that are going on as part of the Emiliano Zapata Art Walk, which happens every 2 Fridays. And of course, we begin our week with the yarn bending get together. If you enjoy yarn bending like I do, we get together once a month in the afternoon. There are other meetings that take place in the morning, but unfortunately, well, fortunately, we are here, which means that we cannot be hooking or yarn bending in the mornings. And of course, I also want to remind you of my dear, dear, dear friend, Gura, who will have the 3 finalists from the So You Think You Can Rise variety contest as special guests in her performance at Nacho Daddy this coming Monday. Mark Hartman is going to be playing. There are some special guests announced, so this should be a lot of fun to attend. And with all that said, let us take a look at your comments. I feel naked without the microphone. This is so weird. I'll check. See, this is why I'm saving money, and this is a good thing because I was so happy to see a good turnout yesterday because I'm saving money for a new video and audio interface. No more crackling, no more popping, no more many things. It is that time of the year in which we start thinking about hardware upgrades. And of course, this coincides with the renewal of um, our sponsors, our community partners. So we'll be talking more about that later on. But first, let's see what is on your mind. Lots of good mornings, which I love. Um, Betsy, you've nothing to thank me for. It was your idea that we talk about yesterday's topic, so I have to thank you for giving me such a great rabbit hole to go crawling into and exploring. It was a lot of fun to find interesting stuff to bring to the table in yesterday's presentation. I'm so glad that you were happy. Randall says, see everyone tonight. Yay, I love it. Albert says, Mike, I love it. My bad, my bad. Paco. Yeah. Oh, okay, so there was no sound from the very beginning. Okay, thank you very much for that. That is helpful then. My bad. Um, but I'm going to look into this right after the broadcast. You guys are so patient with me. I appreciate that. Hi, Gina. Looking forward to seeing you today. And in advance, I want to thank you and all your staff for all the wonderful work you put forth to make sure that we have a great time. And I'm sure that today will be no exception. I am jazzed. Brian comments, Vinoma tickets are on sale this weekend, 2 for 1,300 pesos instead of 800 each. I couldn't find what is included in the ticket price. That is unfortunate, Brian. We've spoken many, many, many times about those instances in which event providers are not as forthcoming with details as we'd like them to be. Hopefully, this will be modified or improved in the next few hours by the organizers. Patrick says, looking forward to meeting you and a bunches of cluster folk tonight. Yes, cluster folk sounds too much like cluster. You know what I'm talking about, but I know what you mean. That is very funny. Jonathan says, the two times I tried the beer concoction, I got violently sick. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, what can I tell you? I like my veggies. I like my shrimp. I like my beer. I just don't want them all combined in a single vessel. You know what I mean? Albert says, loved last night. Only Paco could bring together raicilla and classical music. And I did. And I am happy to tell you why and how that happened if you write the word raicilla in your comment. And I think it was a very teachable, inspirational moment. Thank you very much for that, Albert. Boom, pidadum, pum, 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 pim. Ooh, we are done with comments. Um, so I've told you what I'm doing for the weekend. I have, thank you. I have, of course you would, Betsy. Raicilla. Okay, I'm going to be brief. See, here's the thing, and we were talking about this last night. Let's say that um, somebody asks you, do you like raicilla? And you say no. Maybe you had a bad experience with raicilla. And then you try it again, and it turns out that you do like it. And then maybe you like it enough to ask for it again at the same place, and now you're intrigued. And then maybe you go to another place, another bar, another restaurant, and you ask for raicilla. So you start developing a taste for it. Then you find yourself in another city, and uh, and you ask for raicilla, and you still like it. Now, the interesting part about that, and it could be raicilla, it could be enchiladas, it could be tacos, it could be banda music for all I care. But the bottom line is we cannot begin to say that we like something or dislike something if we don't give it a chance. And then the interesting aspect of that is that let's say that you've tried raicilla in five different places and you are raicilla crazy. That does not necessarily mean that the raicilla that you're tasting is the authentic way to make raicilla. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times we chastise ourselves by saying, well, I don't want to study classical music. I don't want to study painting. I don't want to study sculpture. And you shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. Our first reaction to the arts should simply be, does it say something to us? Um, and based on that, if you're curious enough to go exploring arts or music or raicilla or enchiladas or whatever, then you can certainly do that. But don't hold back because you think you have to eat everything on the big gulp. If you think that you want to, you have to learn everything on the first sitting. That is definitely not the case. Parenthetically, it is interesting how when we hear there's a new Italian restaurant, we dash to the new Italian restaurant, but when we hear there's a new musician or a new composer or a new artist, we're not that curious. So, my wish in all this explanation is that we become uh, more curious about music in general, about classical music in particular, that we become more curious about our surroundings, about the life that we live. And I know I'm preaching a little bit, and I will shut up right now. But that's my wish. My wish is that all of us, being guilty of always going to the same restaurants, always going to the same shops, every now and then, let's stretch our eyesight a little bit and expand our comfort level and try something new. That's just a little wish on my behalf. Where is the music? I muted it a second ago and I don't know where to find it. Okay, never mind. I cannot find the happy music, but I can see that a couple of other comments have come in. Colleen says, I love the Raicilla Festival every year. Thank you for that. Uh, Deb says, preach, Paco. Well, I think I just did. And I think this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. I'm sorry the sound was wonky here and there. But again, this is the beginning of the weekend. I hope to see you this afternoon. And if not, I hope to see you again tomorrow, our last broadcast of this week, where we'll have more headlines, more news, more things to share. And I'm sure we'll have a report of today's meet and greet. Have a great one. If I don't see you tonight, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.